everybody, Jewel back with another super cool astrology video. And I wanted to talk today about Mercury inconjunct to the midheaven. What happens when we see this in a birth chart? So inconjunctions, all inconjunctions to the midheaven are about believing and behaving in self-defeating or self-victimizing ways, putting up obstacles that stem from a lack of confidence in the success of the planet that's involved in this inconjunction, whatever planet that is, and the potentials therein, because the success that we find in life is at the midheaven there. And so we tend to react to outside stimulus, authority, bosses, work type situations, people that we perceive as authority figures, or sometimes in positions of teaching. We behave in ways that undermine or squash our own success. So we can short circuit the things at the midheaven with the particular planet involved. So we often blame the things at the midheaven, the people involved at our midheaven, for the things that are happening with that planet that's inconjunct to it. And so what's really happening is that we are behaving in ways that are eliciting the responses, the reactions from our environment and from the people that are involved in our midheaven, that are reinforcing our issues related to that. So, what we see seems to prove what we need to believe in order to stay safe in our position of victim or, ineptitude or outcast. Sometimes, if it's Uranus involved. So it just depends on, the specifics of it, what planet is there. But really it's about the failure to be able to accept or be okay with, because of the lack of ability to stand up to the pressure involved with acceptance of the success that we could have related to that planet and the midheaven. And so planets that are inconjunct to the midheaven tend to react to stimulus there. They tend to overreact to people that they find at the midheaven. And so we can have or develop a reputation for being very rash, if it's Mars or Pluto or Uranus especially, or, overly accepting or loving or caring with Venus there. So it just really depends. But all inconjunctions to the midheaven are going to show up in very similar ways. And so when it's Mercury, it's our communication. It's our thinking. It's our ability to communicate our thoughts and how we file our ideas and our immediate impressions about our immediate environment. And so it's the communication with the things of the midheaven that are very much out of balance when we have this particular aspect going on. So this placement, people tend to be known, and frequently are, very flaky or changeable or unpredictable. And they behave in ways that make it hard to understand them, absolutely, hard to get a hold of them a lot of times, and they are really very much unsure about who they are. They are very much unsure about how people are perceiving them. And so there's a big fear of communicating in ways that are clear, because their perceptions will then become clear. And there's a fear of this happening. So let's get into why that is. Why would somebody not want to perceive their environment as being willing to communicate with them? Well, they aren't really sure about what to expect from themselves or others, because they have behaved in ways in the past that are very out of balance, meaning that the stimulus that they got and their reaction to it was very out of balance. And so it creates this sense of, but this is what I was thinking, or this is what I meant, but this is what I did, and this is how it was interpreted. What am I? And so it creates this difficulty between what they're thinking and how they act that then communicates what they're thinking or what they're feeling. And then that creates the situation where it's reinforcing that the world doesn't want to hear them, or the world can't understand them, or the world doesn't want to hear what they say, or they're unresponsive, they're not being heard. And so they actually are typically easily led by the opinions and ideas and philosophies of others. And so they tend to give in to that and go along with that to a large degree. They tend to believe what others tell them. They can be more gullible than people with Mercury in other positions, because they aren't really confident in their own opinions or their own responses to their immediate environment, because they've behaved in ways that were so kind of wacky that they don't really know what to expect from themselves or from other people. And so it's this unsurety that creates this tension. And so they are always on edge. And Mercury is the planet of perfection. It's the planet that wants to be seen and recognized as flawless. And so that Virgo, that third house, that sixth house, that Mercury within us, that is where we really want to be flawless, and we don't want to make mistakes. We're really terrified of that. And so there is a fear of clear communication when we have this particular inconjunction. So they behave in ways that circumvent that. These people are actually great public speakers. They are. And they're actually really, really good at communication. They're really good at writing. They're good at all these things that they don't perceive themselves as good at. And once they can get out of their own way and they can develop their confidence associated with the underlying problem, these are some of the most exciting and informational people out there. I mean, they can really expand and expound on their ideas in ways that is not just informative, but is electrifying and interesting, because they can have a very kind of ENFP way about them. You want to pay them attention because they're so bubbly, they're so they're just invigorating to be around. So they need to start to pay attention to their own opinions, go with their own ideas, pay less attention to what they think others are perceiving them as, and don't get so hung up on their fear of communicating in ways that clearly get across what they're really thinking. So, behaving in chaotic ways and then complaining about how, they've not been heard or understood because of that. It's just a severe uncertainty regarding their abilities. And so, they keep themselves failing so they don't have to fail. But in keeping ourselves from success, or the fear of that, we've already achieved what we were not wanting to have happen, which is we have failed. So there's a fear of public failure with this one, because the midheaven is our public life. All the planets that are inconjunct have this unconscious fear of failure. But with Mercury, it's about losing face, or about others saying things about us, or gossiping about us, or otherwise seeing us as less than perfect. That is really the underlying issue here. And we got to get over that. We got to get over that, because if we're giving into that fear and that perception, then we are going to find faults and flaws in everybody. And this is one where we do that. We are very, very nitpicky about all the people that we find at the Midheaven, and we find reasons to find flaws with them. We find reasons to find them lacking, or that they are out to get us, or sometimes they are out to trick us, because Mercury is the planet of the trickster. So we can often assign people at the Midheaven that role of, you're not going to get me, or you do bad business, things like that. It's very common. So we got to get out of that mindset and realize that we are our own worst enemy when it comes to our success, when we have inconjunctions to the Midheaven. And we need to take on the added responsibility that comes with success, and that ability to take that on comes from strengthening our own confidence in the fact that that planet that's in conjunct to the Midheaven can do it. It can do it. And boy, these people can. When they get a hold of their confidence issue and their lack of faith in their own ability, their own speaking abilities, their own communication abilities, their own abilities to be understood, they just take off. And these can become some of the best writers, some of the best communicators, the best ventriloquists that you've ever seen. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, please subscribe to my channel. You can find me on the internet at truthinAspectAstrology.com. Yes, I do private consultation. You can find me on Facebook at Truth in Aspect Astrology, where I do daily astro weather forecasting. I do lots of writing and articles over there. Lots of fun stuff. And I am mainly a relationship and intimacy astrologer, but I interpret all types of charts, and I will be back super soon. Bye-bye.